The arena of blood and honor, the sky above, was dark and heavy, filled with thick gray clouds. Thunder rolled in the distance, but no one cared about the storm. All eyes were fixed on the giant stone arena in the center of the alien city. Thousands of strange creatures filled the stands, their voices a mix of growls, roars, and hisses. Banners waved in the wind, marked with blood-red symbols of war and death. At the center of the arena stood Commander Ryan Cross, the last human soldier on this cruel planet. His face was bruised, his body covered in cuts, and his uniform torn. But his eyes still burned with fire. He would not kneel. Not today. Next to him, held by 2 alien guards, was Lena, a young woman from Earth. Her face was pale, but she tried to stay brave. Her hands were tied, and her long hair was messy from days in captivity. She looked at Ryan with fear and hope mixed together. "I told you not to fight them, Ryan," she whispered. "You can't win." "I have to try," Ryan replied, his voice steady. Across the arena, the massive gates opened with a loud, grinding sound. Out stepped Korgith, a giant alien warrior covered in black armor. His skin was dark blue, his teeth sharp like daggers, and his eyes glowed yellow. In his hand, he carried a long, jagged blade stained with dried blood. The alien crowd roared with excitement. Some of them shouted in their strange language, while others pounded their fists against the stone walls. The king of this world, a towering figure with a crown made of bone, stood up from his throne. Today, the king announced in a booming voice, "We witness the trial of ownership. A warrior fights for his prize. The winner claims all that belongs to the defeated, his weapons, his land, his people, and his mate." Lena's eyes widened in horror. "Ryan, what does he mean?" Ryan clenched his fists. "It means if I lose, you belong to him." The drums began to beat, slow and heavy. The sound echoed through the arena, making the ground shake beneath their feet. Ryan stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. He had no armor, no shield, and only a short, dented sword. But he had something the aliens didn't understand. The unbreakable will of a human. The battle began with a sharp cry from the king. Korgith charged forward like a beast, his blade aimed at Ryan's head. Ryan dodged to the side, feeling the wind of the strike brush past his face. He swung his sword, but it barely scratched Korgith's thick armor. The crowd booed and laughed, certain that the human would fall quickly. But Ryan was fast. He rolled under Korgith's next attack and managed to land a cut on the alien's leg. It wasn't deep, but it made Korgith snarl in anger. "You fight well for a weak creature," Korgith growled. "I fight for more than myself," Ryan spat back. Blow after blow, they clashed in the center of the arena. Ryan dodged and struck, using every bit of speed and skill he had. Korgith was bigger and stronger, but Ryan's human mind was sharp, and he never stopped moving. Lena watched with tears in her eyes, her hands trembling. The alien crowd grew quieter, surprised that the human was still standing. Ryan's body ached. Blood ran down his face, but he kept fighting. He thought of Earth, of his home, of Lena's smile, and of every human who ever refused to bow. He wouldn't give them the pleasure of watching him die on his knees. Korgith grew frustrated. He lifted Ryan off the ground with one massive hand and slammed him against the wall. The world blurred for Ryan. His sword fell from his hand, and he could hear Lena screaming his name. "Enough!" The alien king shouted. Korgith raised his blade for the final blow. The arena held its breath, but in the final moment, Ryan's fingers twitched. His lips formed a weak smile. Even as the blade came down, he whispered, "Not over, not yet." The sword struck. The crowd erupted in wild cheers. Blood splashed on the ground. Ryan's body fell, motionless. Lena's scream was lost in it. Noise. The king stood. The human has fallen. Korgith is the victor. By the laws of our ancestors, all he owned is now claimed. The female belongs to the champion. Guards grabbed Lena, dragging her away as she fought and cried. The alien crowd roared in approval. But far below the arena floor, in the darkness of a cold cell, Ryan's fingers twitched again. The story was not over. The battle's price, the sky above the arena darkened as heavy clouds gathered. But no, one noticed the coming storm. The air was filled with the wild cheers of the alien crowd, celebrating their champion's victory. The scent of blood and dust hung thick in the air. Lena's hands trembled as the guards dragged her toward the winner's platform. Her heart pounded in her chest. She tried to break free, kicking and screaming, but the guards were too strong. Her eyes kept darting back to where Ryan's body lay motionless on the blood-stained ground. "Let me go," she cried, her voice lost in the noise. "You can't do this." But no one listened. On the tall stone throne, the alien king raised his hand for silence. Slowly, the noise faded until only the crackle of distant thunder remained. "Korgith," the king spoke in a voice like rolling stone, "you have won this trial of ownership. By the law of the Ancient Ones, the spoils of your victory belong to you. The human's weapon, his title, and his female are yours." The crowd roared again. Korgith grinned, stepping forward. His face was still marked by Ryan's blows, a small cut on his cheek where human steel had broken alien skin. He looked down at Lena like a predator eyeing its prey. "Take her to my chambers," he ordered the guards. Lena struggled harder, her heart filled with terror and fury. "You'll regret this. Ryan is dead," Korgith snarled, "and his laws died with him." Far below the arena, in a dark, cold chamber where the wounded and dying were thrown like broken tools, a weak spark of life remained. Ryan's body lay on a cold metal table. Blood covered his face, his hand limp at his side. Around him, the moans of other prisoners echoed in the gloom. But in his chest, his heart still beat. Slow, steady. Stubborn. An old alien prisoner named Varn, a wrinkled, one-eyed creature with gray skin and a crooked back, noticed the human move. "Well, well," Varn muttered, hobbling over. "Still breathing, are we? Not many survive a blow from Korgith." Varn poked Ryan's shoulder. Ryan groaned, his eyelids fluttering. "You humans are strange," Varn said softly. "Too stubborn to die when you should," Ryan coughed weakly. His ribs felt like they were on fire. Every part of him ached, but one word formed in his mind. "Lena." "She's gone," Varn said grimly. "Claimed by Korgith, by law. You fought well, human. But the law of eternal ownership is older than even this world. Lose a battle, lose everything." Ryan's eyes opened, full of pain and fury. "I'm not done," Varn chuckled, shaking his head. "Your kind never are." Above them, in the royal chambers, Lena was thrown to the floor. The room was large, filled with strange alien weapons, trophies, and banners. Korgith stood before her, removing his armor piece by piece. "You should be proud," he growled. "Not many survive to become a victor's prize. You'll serve me well." Lena's mind raced. She had no weapon, no ally, no way out. But she had one thing left, her courage. "You think you've won?" she hissed, glaring up at him. "You have no idea what humans can do." Korgith laughed, the sound deep and cruel. "Your champion is dead. Your laws mean nothing here." Lena didn't answer. Instead, she quietly took note of the room. The location of doors, weapons on the wall, a small window high above. Every little detail mattered now. Back in the prison chamber, Varn offered Ryan a crude drink made from alien roots. "You'll need strength if you plan to crawl back to the surface." Varn said. But I warn you, even if you escape this. So, the law is clear. No one has ever broken it. Ryan forced himself to sit up, pain shooting through his body. Blood dripped from his mouth, but his eyes burned with a quiet, deadly fire. Then I'll be the first. Varn watched him carefully. Why? She's just one human girl. No one escapes the law of eternal ownership. She's my friend, Ryan said through gritted teeth. And because no one tells a human when to die. The storm outside finally broke. Lightning flashed, and rain poured down over the alien city. In the distance, thunder rolled like the growl of a waking beast. Varn smiled, a rare, toothless grin. Maybe the gods favor fools tonight. Ryan took a deep, painful breath. He wasn't dead, not yet. And as long as he lived, he would fight. The forgotten law of the storm raged through the night, lightning splitting the dark skies while rain poured over the alien city. The cheers from the arena had faded, replaced by the soft hum of night creatures and the crackle of distant torches dot in. The cold prison chamber, Ryan leaned against the wall, every breath sharp with pain. His face was swollen, ribs bruised, but his mind was clearer than it had been in days. Beside him, Varn sat cross-legged, sharpening a piece of metal against a stone. So, Varn muttered without looking up, what's your plan, human? Crawl. Up those tunnels and die in the king's court? Ryan winced as he shifted. I need to find her, Varn grunted. And when you do? What then? Korgoth owns her now. The law of eternal ownership was written long before my time. No one breaks it. If you try, you'll both die. Ryan's jaw tightened. There has to be a way. For the first time, Varn paused, his one good eye narrowing. There is a way, but no one dares to use it. Ryan turned sharply. What is it? Varn sighed, leaning closer. His voice dropped to a whisper. The law says the victor keeps all of the loser's possessions, living or dead. But there's a hidden line, long forgotten by most. If the victor is challenged and defeated by one of his own bloodline or his own clan, within 3 nights, the spoils return to no one. The human spirit doesn't break the storm hadn't stopped. Lightning flashed above the alien city, and the rain poured like the skies themselves were weeping. But in the darkness beneath the arena, Ryan Cross moved like a man possessed. Every step hurt, every breath burned his ribs. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. Varn led him through hidden tunnels, torchlight flickering against damp stone walls. The old alien's face was serious now, no longer joking. You have until the first bell of dawn, Varn warned. If you're not in that arena by then, the law means nothing. Korgoth will claim the girl, and you'll hang. I'll make it, Ryan said, his voice hard as iron. Above them, in the royal quarters, Lena sat in a small dark chamber. Her wrists were raw from the rope, her stomach empty, and her heart heavy. She hadn't slept since the fight. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Ryan fall, saw Korgoth's blade strike him down. But now, she wasn't sure what was real anymore. Had she seen him? In the storm-lit shadows of her room, standing there, blood on his chest, those stubborn, human eyes glaring through the darkness? Or was it a cruel trick of her mind? I won't give up, she whispered to herself. Not now. She started watching the guards, counting their steps, memorizing their routes. Every rebel story she'd ever heard spoke of one thing. Hope came when you expected at least dot in the tunnels. Ryan reached a small underground room where several figures waited. Alien outcasts, rebels, and old slaves, all marked by chains and scars. Varn nodded to them. Tonight we fight, Varn announced. A human stands against Korgoth in the old ways. If he wins, the law of eternal ownership is broken. The rebels murmured in surprise. One spoke up. A human? Against Korgith? I'll fight him, Ryan growled, stepping forward. I don't care how big he is. I don't care how many teeth he's got. He took what's mine, and I'm taking it back. An old, scarred alien warrior stepped forward. Gurtak, a former arena champion. Then you'll need this, Gurtak said, handing Ryan a long double-edged blade made of ancient black metal, forged in the old wars, banned by the king himself. One strike from this can cut through that beast's armor. Ryan took it, feeling its weight. It wasn't like the human swords he'd trained with, but it would do. Thank you. Ryan nodded. Make sure you don't die before using it. Gurtak smirked. Above, Korgith feasted. In the great hall, roaring with laughter, drunk on victory. His warriors filled the room, telling stories of his fights. They boasted of how no one had ever taken a prize from him, how no enemy had risen again after falling to his blade dot in one corner of the hall. A tall figure in a hood watched quietly. The figure was part of the rebellion, sent to spread word of Ryan's challenge. The law was clear. Witnesses had to be present for the blood challenge to count Dot back in the tunnels. Ryan gritted his teeth as Varn wrapped his broken ribs. Remember, Varn said, this isn't about strength. Korgith's stronger, faster, but you're smarter. You humans always are. Use the storm. Use his pride. Make him angry. Ryan smiled weakly. I can do that. Lena, meanwhile, made her move. One of the guards came too close, and with a sudden kick, she knocked him off balance. Grabbing a broken chain from the floor, she struck him down and grabbed his weapon. Another guard came running, but Lena threw the chain around his neck, choking him unconscious. Her hands shaking, heart pounding, she whispered, for Ryan. She knew where to go. An old rebel she'd met in the prison days ago had told her about a hidden way into the arena stands. She wouldn't miss this fight. She had to be there, to see him, to let him know he wasn't alone. The sky began to lighten. The first hint of dawn touched the clouds. Varn gripped Ryan's shoulder. It's time. The rebels slipped away through the tunnels, spreading the word. Some guards were bribed, others quietly taken out. The rebellion was moving. Slowly, quietly. Tonight would decide more than just Lena's fate. As Ryan stepped into the arena once more, the storm broke again. Thunder roared, lightning split the sky. The alien crowd began to gather, word spreading fast that a human had invoked the ancient blood law. The king, confused but curious, took his place on the throne. Korgith, still drunk but furious, stomped into the arena, his heavy weapon in hand. You're dead, Korgith roared, pointing his blade at Ryan. I killed you. Guess I didn't stay dead, Ryan smirked. Come on, big guy. Let's see if you can finish the job properly. The crowd screamed for blood. Lena, hiding in the stands, her hair soaked with rain, smiled for the first time in days. The final battle was about to begin. The final challenge. The first light of dawn broke through the storm clouds, casting a pale silver glow over the ancient alien arena. The rain still fell, though softer now, and the thick air smelled of blood, sweat, and lightning. The stands were packed with alien spectators. Word had spread fast. A human had returned from death. He had invoked the ancient blood rite, something not done in centuries. At the top of the stone steps, the alien king sat upon his bone-covered throne, his eyes narrowed. He didn't like this. The law of eternal ownership was sacred, but so was the blood rite. If he denied it before the crowd, he risked rebellion. Let the challenge begin, the king finally announced. A loud, heavy drum began to beat. Korgith stormed into the arena, eyes burning with fury. His armor gleamed under the gray sky, and his jagged sword seemed to hum with bloodlust. His face twisted into a cruel grin. You should have stayed dead, human, Cornith growled. "This time, I'll tear you apart piece by piece." Across. From him stood Ryan Cross. His face was bruised, his ribs tightly wrapped, and his chest marked with the symbols of Korgith's blood. In his hand, he gripped the ancient black metal blade Gartok had given him. The crowd hissed, growled, and howled. Some bet on Korgith. Others whispered of the human's return, of the old ways awakening. In the shadows above, Lena crouched in the stands, clutching a stolen dagger. Her heart pounded, eyes never leaving Ryan. "You can do this," she whispered. The final drum sounded. Korgith charged like a beast, swinging his massive sword in a deadly arc. Ryan dodged, barely avoiding the strike, feeling the wind of the blade rush past his face. He rolled to the side and slashed with his black metal sword. Sparks flew as it struck Korgith's armor, leaving a deep gash. The alien crowd gasped. Korgith roared and attacked again. Blow after blow. Steel clashing, sparks flying, dust rising. Ryan moved faster than he should have been able to, pain screaming in every bone, lungs burning. He remembered Varn's words. Use his pride. Make him angry. So Ryan smiled. He taunted Korgith, dodging his blows, leaving shallow cuts on the alien's skin, letting the blood flow. "You're slowing down, champ," Ryan called. Korgith's rage blinded him. He fought harder, but with less control. Up in the stands, Varn appeared beside Lena, a stolen crossbow in hand. "Didn't think you'd miss this, girl," Varn muttered. Lena grinned. "Wouldn't dream of it." Below, the fight turned brutal. Ryan landed a heavy strike to Korgith's shoulder, cutting deep. The alien howled and backhanded Ryan, sending him crashing into the arena wall. The crowd cheered. Blood filled Ryan's mouth. His vision blurred. But through it all, he saw one thing, Lena's face in the crowd. Watching him, trusting him. He forced himself up. "Not done yet." Ryan spat blood and charged. Korgith laughed and raised his blade for a final, crushing blow. But Ryan was faster. He ducked under the swing, rolled forward, and drove his black metal sword deep into Korgith's side. The blade bit through armor and flesh. The champion's eyes widened in shock. The arena fell silent. Korgith stumbled, tried to lift his weapon. But Ryan twisted the sword, and the giant dropped to his knees. "Told you," Ryan growled, face inches from the aliens. "You should have finished the job." With a final thrust, Ryan drove the sword up into Korgith's chest. The champion fell. The silence held for a long, frozen moment. Then, the rebel outcasts in the crowd raised their weapons. Varn fired his crossbow. The bolt struck a royal guard. Chaos erupted. The rebellion had begun. Lena leaped from the stands, grabbing a fallen spear. She rushed toward Ryan, blood and rain streaking her face. "You did it!" she cried. Ryan, barely standing, managed a weak grin. "Told you, didn't stay dead." The alien king stood, shouting commands, but the crowd was turning. Some cheered for Ryan. Some joined the rebellion. The arena guards hesitated. The law was clear. Korgith was dead. The ownership was broken, and the people had seen it. Varn appeared beside them, grinning. "We've started a storm now, humans." Ryan looked at Lena, then up at the rising dawn. "Good," he whispered. "About time someone did."